I am very honored to introduce to you Dr. Sola Togan Butler, the founder, CEO, and psychotherapist at Butterfly Counseling Services. She established Butterfly Counseling to make mental health accessible and affordable for a diverse client population and to challenge the stigma associated with receiving mental health services. Yay. Is an award-winning professional speaker highlighting the importance of mental health while offering solutions to minimize stress, prevent burnout, and achieve balance. She's been interviewed by NBC News and Spectrum News One in New York. I'm so honored to be in their company. So congratulations for the publishing of your article on 5 effective strategies for mental well-being in Authority magazine recently. First of all, how did you come up with the name for your business called Butterfly Counseling?
So to me, butterflies symbolize metamorphosis. They symbolize transformation. So the butterfly goes from being a caterpillar and then it emerges as a butterfly. So that was very important for me as a mental health professional to symbolize the butterfly as metamorphosis. And one of my favorite quotes that is my signature is that the butterfly is proof that you can go through a great deal of darkness and yet become something beautiful. So
Oh,
that's
God,
why, yeah, that's why I love butterflies so much.
I love it. I thought that's probably what was behind it, but I wanted to hear it in your words.
Absolutely.
This article is about managing anxiety.
Mhm.
What time in your life did you experience the most anxiety?
The most anxiety I experienced was when I was making the decision to move from being a full-time employee to being a full-time entrepreneur. So there is this certain comfort when you're an employee, you have a regular check coming in. You don't have to worry about getting clients. And I was very anxious about being a full-time entrepreneur. What is that going to look like, for me if I leave my job and I do this full time? Will I be able to meet my financial obligations? Will I make sure that my family is going to be okay? So those were a lot of the anxious thoughts that were going through my brain as I was deciding whether or not to make that transition.
I can vouch for the fact that entrepreneurial journey is one of courage for sure. What or whom did you lean on during that time?
I would say I leaned on my husband and my parents. Now, my mom is an entrepreneur and she has been an entrepreneur for over 15 years.
Wow.
So kind of leaning on her wisdom. And with my husband and my father, I would call them my loudest cheerleaders. They were saying to me that you can do this, you can make this happen. And that played a role in me creating what I call my worry plan, to understand what are some things that I am doing that is going to make it likely that this journey will be successful.
I'm so glad you had a husband and parents who were cheerleaders for you. Not everyone can say that when they start a
Yes.
business.
Hmm.
You also mentioned certain Bible verses that really meant a lot to you or still mean a lot. What are one or two of your favorites?
One of my favorites is that it's called Be Still and Know That I Am God. So, like, whenever I'm anxious and worried about whether or not something is going to happen, as a Christian, I turn to my faith in God and knowing that He has my best interest, He's going to take care of it. So, that helps minimize my worry. The other one is God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of joy and of a sound mind. So when I recite those verses to myself, whether in prayer or meditation, I literally feel like my heart rate go down. It's almost in a sense like those Bible verses mean that, God has you. He has your best interest at heart and it's going to work out. You just have to trust him and you have to trust the process.
I love that. That's one of my favorites as well. What did you learn during that startup time in your business that still serves you today?
The most important thing that I learned is to have a support system. You don't have to go this alone. So
Mm.
really build a tribe of people who are going to be there to support you along the way. Because the entrepreneurial journey has a lot of highs and lows. So knowing that I had people that I can lean on meant the world to me, whether it was entrepreneurs, whether it was friends, colleagues, families, just knowing that they were there to cheer me on, they were there to give me solid advice, and they were there to, help me with mistakes. If I was making mistakes, to offer their opinion. So I would always say, have a support system. Like, who is your community? Who is your tribe that you can lean on, especially during stressful times?
Because being an entrepreneur can really be a lonely position without that tribe supporting you.
Absolutely.
You commented, you made the suggestion to listen to the message anxiety is bringing. How do you describe that? How do you welcome the message from anxiety?
I welcome the message because, as a mental health professional, I believe very strongly there's no such thing as a negative emotion. All emotions are good because they're there to tell you a story. If you judge an emotion, you're not likely to welcome the emotion.
Yeah.
So, welcoming anxiety could be something along the lines of "Good morning, anxiety. I see that you're here. What's going on?" And once I understand the message where anxiety said you're anxious about this particular issue, then I create a plan. What's within my control, what is outside of my control, and then I focus on what's within my control and then create my plan that way.
I love that you suggested creating a worry plan. That must be what you're talking about. Can you describe that to us?
Yes, I love worry plans because sometimes when we're anxious about things, there's this belief that we have absolutely no control. What a worry plan does is it has us take the worry out of our head and we write it down on paper. Then once it's on paper, we want to ask ourselves, what can I control? What is outside of my control? And what can I influence? And then the whole idea is we realize we have more control than what we think. And now I'm going to take my energy and focus on that instead of trying to focus my energy on what is completely outside of my control. And it really does help minimize anxiety and worry.
I'm going to use that idea, Sola. One of your suggestions is soothing with the senses. Please describe what that means.
Yes, that's one of my favorite self-care activities because it can be done in as little as 5 to 10 minutes. So it's using your senses to soothe yourself. So what can you see that's soothing? Is it a picture in your office? Is it looking out the window and seeing the trees and the sky and the birds? What can you taste? So it could be maybe mint tea or jasmine tea. What can you touch that's soothing? What can you hear? So it's using your five senses in a way to get yourself into a calm body and to minimize anxiety. And because you can do it in 5 to 10 minutes, a lot of people find it to be very practical to be able to do.
I'm surprised that it only takes that short amount of time. That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
I love that your goal is to remove the stigma attached to getting help with mental health.
Mhm.
Would you share more about how that goal can be achieved? That's a pretty awesome goal.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very passionate about destigmatizing mental health. And the way to do that is to humanize mental health. And people often ask me, what does that mean when you say humanize mental health? Humanizing mental health is realizing that by virtue of being human beings, all of us collectively as human beings will struggle with mental health issues from time to time. So that idea that we will all struggle with mental health issues means that we become more open to talking about our struggles. So we destigmatize mental health through that conversation so that those who are struggling know that they don't have to struggle in isolation, that other people have gone through what they're going through, and that is okay. So to me, we destigmatize by humanizing mental health. It is part of the human experience. So we want to talk about it more openly so that people don't deal with mental health struggles in isolation.
I love that goal and that concept. I have the same goal when it comes to marriage education or marriage counseling. I'd like to
Yes.
remove the stigma, you know,
Yes,
reaching out for help. It's kind of the
exactly.
same category. Where are you located, Sola?
I am located in Center Reach, New York, on Long Island.
On Long Island. And how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
The best way to get in touch with me is through my website. So the website is www.butterflycounselingservices.com.
Butterflycounselingservices.com.
That
Great.
is correct. Yes.
Thank you so much for spending these few minutes with me today. And may you continue to be blessed because of the light you are bringing to the world, Sola.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks for having me. It was an absolute pleasure being here.
My pleasure as well.